Hi, my name's Bill Bergman. In about 20 minutes, the President of the United States will be delivering a State of the Union address. And I don't have the teleprompters that they do at that level, but you're going to get to see me read a message of my own called A Missing Link in Our State of the Union. Bill Bergman. President Trump again is going to deliver the first State of the Union message of his second presidency tonight. If he delivers it like the last message of his last presidential term, he'll not use the terms debt or interest expense or fiscal gap, nor will he refer to the financial report of the U.S. government for the previous year. You would think that the State of the Union address includes a review of the state of the federal government's finances in the latest fiscal year, but regularly the presidents don't do that. President Trump isn't alone. In recent decades, presidents have regularly delivered the constitutionally required State of the Union messages without referencing the latest available financial report of the U.S. government. President Joe Biden delivered his final State of the Union message on March 7th, 2024. Did he deliver it with or without the audited financial statements for the previous year? It may be hard to say if you go try to take a look because there's no official release date on the financial report of the U.S. government for fiscal year 2023. In turn, the Treasury Department, the largest issuer of securities in world history, chose not to issue a press release for its annual financial report. However, we can definitively say whether President Biden referred to the latest annual financial report of the U.S. government in his final State of the Union address. He didn't, nor did he refer to important financial indicators of financial health, including interest expense, or analyze and report on the financial condition of the federal government more generally. He did refer to federal government debt, but only once, and in identifying how the previous first Trump administration, quote, added more to the national debt than in any presidential term in American history. That was arguably a true statement when President Biden made it, but it lost validity when the final results for the Biden administration arrived. The financial report for the U.S. government for fiscal year 2023, again, that's for the year right before Joe Biden's last State of the Union address, it had a dated transmittal letter from Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. The letter didn't say to whom it was addressed, but it was dated February 15, 2024. So what we can confirm is that perhaps the president delivered the State of the Union address for 2024 after the fiscal year 2023 report was publicly available. Yet he still chose not to cover the results from that report in the State of the Union address. In a similar vein, Secretary Yellen's transmittal letter began with, during fiscal year 2023, but then that letter went on to review favorable overall economic developments during the previous fiscal year, not to the deteriorating financial results indicated in the financial report of the U.S. government for the federal government itself. Let's look briefly back now to President Donald Trump's final State of the Union address in his first administration. That State of the Union address was delivered on February 4, 2020, before the release of the financial report of the U.S. government for the preceding year. So he didn't cover those results. We can't say for sure whether it was the president's decision to deliver the State of the Union before the financial report for the U.S. government for the previous year was available, because the timing of the State of the Union address is a matter of negotiation between Congress and the president. But this diffusion of responsibility for timing the speech before the result are available for the previous fiscal year. So it's a poor excuse, one that reflects on Congress as well as the president. In his 2020 State of the Union message, President Trump didn't ignore the finances of the U.S. government completely. He discussed and praised his budget, but there are words and there are deeds. Budgets are prospective planning and authorization amounts, and yet there are words and there are deeds. Budgets give you the words, and audited financial statements help you understand the deeds, what happened in hindsight. Every year, budgets get all the attention, while government financial reports go widely ignored. And when the financial report the fiscal year 2019 financial statements became available, they indicated that the federal government's net position deteriorated significantly in a good economic year and before the onset of the pandemic. This year, the Treasury Department has not yet issued its financial report of the U.S. government for fiscal year 2025. Those fiscal years end on September 30th. A Treasury Department representative told me it would be available on March 19, 2026. So once again, a president of the government qualifying as the largest security issuer in world history is going to deliver a State of the Union message without a discussion of audited financial results for the latest fiscal year. President Trump's speech will draw massive media coverage, like all State of the Unions. But we have to question what's become of accountability in our democratic government, our Republican government, excuse me, when presidents regularly deliver State of the Union messages without responsibly reporting about government financial conditions. In turn, we, the people, should question our own responsibilities, as few people seem to care about government financial results compared to the State of the Union messages or budgeted spending plans. It's time for a change. The directive for the President to deliver State of the Union messages arrives in Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, relating to the executive branch. This directive should be viewed together with the directive that we, the people, issue in Article 1 of the Constitution, the article relating to the legislative branch, which states, "No money shall be drawn from the Treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time." That's the statement and account clause in the U.S. Constitution, a very important clause. Today, if you ask different experts what the official statement and account is, you may get different answers. If pressed to identify a single report, the modern financial report of the U.S. government might be argued to be the closest plausible version. But the financial report of the U.S. government wasn't issued in its current form until the late 1990s. Experts can also disagree about the meaning of the results, quote unquote, delivered in that report, given its grounding on debatable, if not highly questionable, financial accounting standards that the federal government sets for its own statements. Another cause for pause is the fact that the federal government's longstanding failure to secure anything better than a disclaimer opinion from the auditor of the financial statements of the financial report of the U.S. government, that's the GAO, the audit arm of Congress, that lends additional uncertainty to interpreting the report. So should we ignore it? I don't think so. When it comes to trying to stay on top of the deteriorating financial conditions of our federal government, that financial report of the U.S. government is as good as it gets. It's a valuable starting point. Yet our presidents and our mainstream media don't seem to pay attention to it, period. And it regularly goes undiscussed in the State of the Union messages. Again, it's time for a change. That's why Larry Phelps and I include a related recommendation in our recently published book, Avoid Fiscal and Economic Disaster with Ethics, Economics, and Excellence. We call on presidents to stop delivering their State of the Unions until the audited financial report of the U.S. government becomes available for the immediate fiscal year, and to directly reference and discuss the results in that report in the State of the Union message. They should do this as a matter of ethics, as accountability, as a constitutional obligation, not just because some law gets passed to tell them to do it. It won't happen tonight. The financial report of the U.S. government is not available, but it should. Have a nice evening.